Hello, my name is Lydia, and I'll be presenting the first portion of the Origins and Tasting Tour that's on Tuesday, June 13th. As a tea importer, it seems very appropriate that the first class session of the day will be focused on China, where the story of tea began. The notion of origins is such a key concept. Many wine lists are organized this way. And when we turn to teas, how are we to understand the notion of place? Now, it seems that the logical step would be for me to give you a list of teas and what provinces they come from. But I think this is information you can compile for yourself rather than to have me just present you with a list and a bunch of places on the map. Instead, I'd like to really turn our attention and time and spend our time on tasting the teas that represent a broad spectrum across China. There are teas whose very names come from names of places. Keeman, for instance, comes from a county by that name in Anhui province. And there are several green teas named for Yellow Mountain or Huangshan, also in Anhui province. And then there are teas that are very much associated with particular places, such as Dragonwell green tea in Zhejiang province, and the fabulous oolong teas from Wuyi in Fujian. But there are also good value teas to be found that are not closely associated with specific places. How do we assess those? Is a famous place of origin always a criterion for getting high quality teas? I don't think that that's necessarily so, and we'll taste some of these. Gunpowder and chunmi teas, orange pekoe black teas, for instance, those are the workhorses of the specialty tea industry. And those sometimes are not associated with particular places. So instead, I'd like to also turn our attention to tea processing methods, the why of processing, the intent that the tea makers have as they're making these teas. Why do certain teas look the way they do, and how is shape and style related to flavor? I've worked as a judge in the North American tea competition for several years, and one criterion that we always use in assessing teas is how true to character a particular tea is. So how do we define what true to character means for various subcategories of tea? What are the features we're looking for? So the purpose of this session will be to try and identify those by building your palate memory. I really want to put the emphasis on tasting, on building your visual memory as well, so that when you look at a tea and notice its leaf style, its leaf shape, you have certain expectations about what taste those leaves will produce and have an understanding of why this is so. Originally, I had planned to taste 22 teas. And of course, I was told that that would be too many for the time allotted. I've cut the list down to about half. We'll be tasting about 11 teas. And we'll have time to look at the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and also, of course, by tasting, I hope to help you establish benchmark teas for the various tea categories that come from China. So I ask you to join me in this tasting tour. It's not so much a geography lesson, but really to get a sense of what flavors are like, what leaf styles are like, and to help you develop benchmark teas and also find some good value teas. Thank you. I hope to see you then.